filled the PS4 with orange juice. Cheers. Happy 2021. I wish everyone the best in 2021. My 2020 was weird, different. I'd expect nothing else, though, after the journey I'd been through in backcountry. I try to explain, it just seems to be something that you have to live with. Well, when you're sad for your whole life, finally happy, when you finally find that, I think it's a whole different feeling than what most people just go through with their normal roller coaster. I just know that life has felt weird, and I'd wondered for a long time why it seemed like a movie. Or like, oh, I don't even remember high school, and I'm like, oh, you don't remember high school? I can't forget age 4. In 2020, I'd managed to find my self-confidence, my self-respect, my self-esteem. The only thing I couldn't find was my hair, my rock star hair. That's gone. I was promoting some hair regrowth, but I'm just over it at this point. Backcountry can keep the hair. It had already been a long journey through backcountry, and I didn't have very much to show for it except my loss of sanity. I'd started my schooling for my first year of apprenticeship for electrical, something I considered a big difference from my earlier dream of being a microbiologist and helping people. They offered something for apprentices in the form of a student loan that was interest-free for 5 years or until you completed your apprenticeship, whichever of those came first. I was dedicated, and the PS4 had just dropped, so I took a loan out, but not for school, so I could buy a PS4. The one that I am currently playing on. Well, I was playing on earlier. While things were calming to some degrees, while firing up on other cylinders, backcountry was still going to be hectic for many years. A boy who'd been asking for mental health help since he was in grade 2 eventually just had to figure it out on his own with trial and error. I'd been a Sony fanboy for sure. Mainly it was those Xbox controllers that had been too big for my tiny hands. But there were other things. Microsoft had just entered the fray, so Sony had a one-up on them. Nintendo was just being like a weird little Jory, just sort of always doing their own thing, smiling about it while everyone wondered what the fuck they were thinking. But Sony kept promising things and then taking them back and then being like, well, how's this instead? And I wondered why the PS3 started to suck after half of its life cycle. Xbox, who pushed PS3 into coming out early, and the release line was not that great, and the PS3 just seemed to magically decline over time. I would watch E3 every year, so I wondered why the PS3 started to suck, and then Sony came out at E3 and revealed they'd been working on the PS4 for the past 3 years. Well, that took us right back into the middle of the PS3 cycle, the 6 years. So then I asked about all the PS3 market content I'd purchased, and they had the perfect solution for a Jory. They were going to offer a free virtual service where I could stream all those games I bought. But survey said that was a marketing lie, and it turned into a $20 Canadian a month service. Then they just started adding all those games I'd already purchased back onto the market, saying that I hadn't purchased them on the PS4, and created a stupid system where there's always something on sale when its original price was $80 some 10 years ago. They've just become the movie franchises. They're like, well, we're out of good ideas and people hate our new ideas, so let's just remake all our old ideas because that worked a couple times. But the systems are hardy nonetheless. I don't always have the brightest ideas, not for a boy traveling through backcountry. Sometimes in backcountry I just lack some sort of constitution. It was weird. One day after a party at a friend's, I decided to lazily carry an open container of orange juice in the same bag as my PS4, my prized possession. And you can guess where that went. The open juice container burst open at some point during my ride home, and juice had filled the cloth bag, filled the PS4 with orange juice. I got home, and I looked in shock at the interest-free loan covered in orange juice. Immediately I pulled it out and started waving it around like I was flagging down a boat from a stranded island. Next, I thought about going to the superstore and buying a huge sack of rice and throwing my PS4 in there like a phone. I laughed at the idea, which was just an idea, and decided to break the security screw and open the PS4 up. But once I got in, I realized that cleaning this thing of OJ was going to be no simple task. So I said, well, it's got orange juice all up in its components, so what's a bunch of water going to hurt it at this point? So I just sprayed the entire insides of the PS4 with water, and that was that. Just had to spend a couple days anxiety-ridden before I was convinced the entire thing was dry enough to warrant a test run. Well, here we were some 4 years later. So you know how that story ended. I streamed tonight. I plugged the PS4 in expecting it to start up before making a couple zappy noises and smoke billowing out the back. Instead, I streamed from some literal orange box, the Tropicana Stratus. I definitely would have had a hard time affording another PS4 had this one pooped. So, while I disapprove of some of Sony's marketing or, I don't know, screwing me over tactic, I'll always appreciate that a PS4 can withstand the forces of being filled with not only orange juice, but then sprayed right back down with water and then dried out. And then, you know, I didn't even mention the time that it did a magical triple sow cow off the table onto concrete, and the thing still worked. I wouldn't try that with your PS5. I have not heard very good things about the PS5, and I bought a computer. Sorry, Sony.